Well, hi everyone. You've reached Right Stuff live on Tuesday, and we are in the middle of a storm. Not the usual shit storm that is our show, but a storm of northeastern proportions, I guess, because it's going from the coast of Florida right up to New York, and we are in the middle of it. Tornadoes in every direction, and I understand that there's flooding in New York. So I'm here by myself today. Jen is still with Svetlana. Um, Not sure what they're doing, but they must be having a grand old time because they haven't come back yet. But she promises me that she'll be here for next week's show. But it's just as well because today's show is Trump versus Biden. And we have lots of clips for all of you to see. Um, Let me just give you some background about today's show. On our YouTube channel, there were people who were accusing us, Jen and I, of being biased in Trump's favor and not giving um, equal time, if you will, to Biden. They said that the clips we were showing about Biden were all doctored or edited, and that Trump did nothing for the American economy or the American people or any of that stuff. And so I promised our YouTube viewers that I would indeed do a Trump versus Biden, and I do it one for one. So, in other words, what I did was I gathered clips, unbiased, and mostly from mainstream media, because I don't want anybody saying, oh, that was from Fox News or that was from Newsmax or Conservative Channel. And we're going to talk today about what Trump did for the economy, what Biden did for the economy, but what Trump did for oil, what Biden did for oil. We're even going to venture into the humor of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. And I want you all, these are uncut to the extent that I could. Some of them were super long, some of them were 45 minutes. I couldn't put all, but I tried to do my best to not cut anything so that you can judge who your American president was. But at any rate, let's get the show started and then we'll see who joined us tonight. So here we go.
Who the hell cares?
That's a liberal.
It's like saying, would you rather have wine or water?
Wine, a half inch, means a lot sometimes.
Nobody likes to eat crow. Right.
Now I'm starving.
How much is the economy today? It's that much.
This pumpkin latte sucked, and I want to speak to your manager.
Objection, hearsay. Objection, leading. Objection, hearsay.
Where is that woman when Biden speaks?
Get the hell out of here. His name is pronounced Joni. And that's the end of it.
So before we get started, let me just say that we decided not to go live on Instagram anymore because StreamYard and Instagram are not working well together. And last week's show, the audio was really a problem. So that's not going to happen until they fix that. So maybe in a month or so, we'll see that. And we have Trish Golden Self, who put her notifications on YouTube to watch us. Thanks, Trish. Happy to have you. Colleen Mahoney's with us. Hey, Kyle. Kyle, I know it's pretty bad by you with the tornadoes, and I thank you for tuning in. I hope you're okay. Please stay safe. Francine's with us. Hey, Francine, how are you? We have Debbie Lebedo, weather storm and political storms. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Also on Rumble, we have Beer Nuts are with us on Rumble. He's watching live. Good evening, Bobby Dutcher. Good to have you. Thank you so much for being with us. And my mom is here. I've got to find my bell. I didn't. My mom. I didn't set myself up pretty well because the internet has been so glitchy today. I literally just finished uploading the show minutes ago. So tonight's a night for a drink. Everybody drink, because remember, when you're drunk, I'm funnier. Hello, Gloria. Glad to see that you're here and that there's no bingo tonight. Maria, how are you, Maria Lupo? Glad to see you here. No contest. Trump was better in every way. Well, and that's what we're hoping to show tonight. Hello, where's Svetlana? So listen, so Svetlana and Jen met and together, and they hit it off so well that they went on vacation together. And now they're stuck. They can't get back. And so we'll see what happens. Colleen, I'm not drinking. Well, you could do other things. Whatever it takes to make me funny or do it. All right. I'm not encouraging drinking for those of you that don't drink, but figure out a way to make yourself nice, relaxed, and comfortable so that I'm funnier. Okay. So anyway, I rarely capitulate to the haters, but I really thought it was a great idea to show people the difference between Trump and Biden, uncut, and let them decide for themselves. So we're going to start off with Trump. We're going to always go Trump first, then Biden on the same subject. Okay. So the first subject is Trump on the border. So a lot of these clips are long. So I'm going to depend on you guys to, give me feedback since we don't have the comic relief of Jen or Svetlana. But I think that they make their point. And I hope if you start to snooze on some of them, let me know and I will, I'll shorten them up. Oh, hold on. Wait. We got some comments here. You should get your mom to co-host. I agree, Howard, but she won't do it. She won't come on air. Anything posted on Biden mainstream or not didn't make him look good unless you're mental. Well, we're going to see, right? So this is a non-biased look. It's mano a mano, exactly the same. So without any bent or spin or any of that stuff. So our first one is on the border. Watch what Trump did with the border.
I just want to thank everybody for being here. I know these families. I know many more families that have gone through the same thing. And I can not imagine it being any worse. But we pledge to act with strength and with resolve and in the memory of those who have been lost so needlessly. And it's because of families like yours that my administration created the new Office of DHS, the Victims of Immigrant Crime Engagement, which has been doing, I hear, a fantastic job. They call it Voice, so that your voices can be heard. Today we have released the first Voice report within the first months of Voice. We've opened more than 2,800 victims registered to receive information on their perpetrator. We're following these people. We're following them. So it can't happen again by that individual. Voice assisted hundreds of families already, connected them to crucial services such as grief counseling, followed up their cases and helped ensure that the criminal aliens that harmed their families so egregiously were detained, removed, and deported. Our first duty and our highest loyalty is to the citizens of the United States. We want safety in our country. We want border security. We don't want people in our country that don't go through a process. We want people in our country based on merit, not based on a draw, where other countries put their absolute worst in a bin and they start drawing people. Where you think they're going to put their good ones. They don't put their good ones. They put their bad ones. And then when they commit crimes, we're so surprised. We'll not rest until our border is secure, our citizens are safe, and we finally end the immigration crisis once and for all. We want safety in our country. We want strong borders. We want people to come in, but we want them to come in the proper way. So thank you all for being here. These are incredible families, incredible people. Your loved ones have not died in vain. Much of what we're doing today is because of what you've had to endure. And we just thank you all very much for being here. And God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So that was voice. That was Trump setting up so that illegal migrants who were acted illegally, who actually killed or hurt or robbed or whatever citizens were accounted for. You know now that right now, and especially in sanctuary cities, illegal immigrants that come into the country and do harm are not being prosecuted. They're not even being arrested because that's the way things go. So, hey, the professor is with us. So, you know, we know that Donald Trump, that the border was important to him. Biden claims that the border is important to him too. Kamala Harris is in charge of the border. She's the border czar. And you all could comment on how you think she's doing. This clip is from a recent clip where Biden is actually blaming Republicans for the border crisis. Watch.
President Biden is blaming congressional Republicans for the record number of migrants crossing the border last month. His remarks come as the U.S. is reopening ports of entry in Texas, Arizona, and California, and migrants are being transported to cities across the country. ABC's Jay O'Brien joins me now for more on this. Jay, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas met with negotiators on Capitol Hill yesterday. And the whole goal here is to try to hash out a deal on border policy. So what's the latest on those talks?
And I just want to translate a little bit of what the president was saying about they ought to give me the money I need to protect the border. He's saying that because the president put together, remember, this big $100 billion plus foreign aid package that includes aid for Ukraine, aid for Israel, and also money for border security that was meant to get Republican support. And Republicans said they also wanted, including in that package, immigration reforms to the U.S. immigration policy. And so that's what these talks are trying to hammer out right now. As to exactly what the product of these talks is so far, Diane, we know more of what we don't know than what we know. We know that they met, these negotiators, Senate Republicans and Democrats and administration officials like the Secretary of Homeland Security. They met virtually over the last few weeks, over the holiday, and then again they met in person beginning this week again. And Secretary Mayorkas again was on Capitol Hill as part of those negotiations. But exactly what is being hammered out, we don't know. There hasn't been anything on paper that's been released from those negotiations yet. We've heard from senators who say they are going to brief their colleagues when Congress returns next week, but we don't exactly know what's been on the table, what's been taken off the table, and if they're going to come together on any kind of legislation that Congress can vote on and free up that money, again, for Israel, Ukraine, and for border security.
Attention, the bullshit meter has detected major BS. Confirmed, that's definitely some bullshit.
The balls of that man to blame the Republicans in Congress for the border crisis. Let's just be clear. Biden was elected and he had a majority in the House and he had a 50-50 Senate with Kamala Harris as the tiebreaker. If he wanted border or immigration reform passed, he should have done it then. But he didn't do it then because we all remember, right, before Trump left office, there was a caravan coming towards America, coming through Mexico. And there was news stories regularly about that caravan. So it wasn't like it was a surprise. It wasn't like, it's almost interesting, right? It's almost as if those people knew that Joe Biden would be elected president. Don't know. Just saying, but they could have been ready. But now he puts it in a package with money to Ukraine and to Israel, and he's blaming the Republicans in Congress for not passing the aid package. I call bullshit. Beer Nuts says that Trump knocked it out of the park, grand slam with the border commentary, and he's on Rumble. So let's see what we got going on here. Okay, Maria Lupo, they are driving unlicensed cars. Yes, they're driving with no licenses. They have luxury cars, some of them. I understand that New York had a crackdown And, a lot of these migrants had luxury cars. Wonder where that's coming from. Could it be from the hookers that are hanging out on the corner in Queens? Could it be from the fentanyl dealing? What could it be from, I wonder? A bunch tried robbing Bloomingdale's yesterday. Yes, they did. Sunglasses, $5,300 worth of sunglasses in Bloomingdale's. Hello, Dal Castagna. I don't know what that means. She's human garbage. Oh, I guess that was for Kamala. Trump speech, constitutional. Biden, self-serving. Trump, deranged individual. Right. Trump speech, constitutional. Biden, self-serving. Trump, deranged individual. Debbie, got to do better. I can't. Biden blames Trump for his failure as president. Absolutely. We're going to see that as we go along. We're going to see the difference in the styles where Trump never blamed Obama for anything. And yet Biden blames Trump for everything. Okay. That's a classic Democrat play. Take no responsibility and blame everyone. 100%. Biden sold the materials to build a wall. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And then he said he was going to build the wall. Doll. Oh, okay. Francine Lacoste de Gregorio. My name means chestnut. Okay. Oh, what? I forgot to shut down my phone here. Okay, so we have crosstalking, which is great. That means that friends are all watching at the same time. I like when that happens. So once again, Biden takes no responsibility for his presidency or anything that he does. And, the problem is that we have gullible people who are listening to this stuff. But again, I'm not biased. Let you decide. We're going one for one here. Okay, so next up is the economy. Let's hear, and this isn't from Trump's mouth. Let's hear about the Trump economy from ABC. I love this. I tried really hard to get mainstream media for everything. So watch.
This weekend will mark a full year since President Trump was inaugurated. It has been a week of good economic news, which he touted today, including the Dow Jones Industrial Average quickly cracking the 26,000 mark, and Apple announcing that it will bring huge overseas profits back to invest in the U.S., paying tens of billions of dollars in taxes. How much of that credit should go to the president? Our economics correspondent Paul Solman posed that question for his weekly series, Making Sense.
Unemployment 4.1%, down from 4.8% when President Trump took office. GDP growing at more than 3%, faster than the last two Obama years. The stock market hitting new highs nearly every day. And President Trump says it's a function of his policies.
Here he is in Pennsylvania this afternoon.
At the center of America's resurgence are the massive tax cuts that I just signed into law, with tremendous tax relief for working families, for small businesses, for big businesses that produce jobs, for just about everybody. Tremendous numbers, and you're already seeing what's happening.
And so the question, does the president deserve the credit?
At the annual Economists Convention in Philadelphia last week, I started with some of his toughest critics.
If you look at the trends of job creation, of growth of the economy, of the stock market's appreciation, there's not a very notable break on January 20th.
That's Austin Goolsbee from the Obama White House. Lisa Cook served there too.
We set in motion what we see now. You can't create an economy overnight.
Now, for the full-on defense of Trump's policies, we were trying to secure an interview with the head of the President's Council of Economic Advisors, Kevin Hassett. But though he was at the conference, no luck. So instead, we turned to longtime American University professor Bob Lerman.
On policy, I would give him maybe a B- to a B.
Lerman calls himself a moderate or market economist. He likes much of what Trump is doing for the economy.
I think the corporate reforms make sense. I think he's been pro-energy. Now, you can argue against it on environmental grounds, but I think that several steps will expand output in the energy field.
And that means jobs.
And that means jobs, and usually good jobs.
And how do the naysayers reconcile their low marks with...
So, a moderate all of a sudden thinks Trump is doing okay. And this was in his first year in office. And you tell me, what did your 401k look like when Trump took office? Do you think that having a pro-economy, pro-energy president made a difference not only in America's economy, but worldwide? You tell me what you think. All right, let's see. We got Andrew Dorman with us. Hello and Happy New Year and enjoy, ladies. Well, lady, because Jennifer's not here, Andrew, but thanks for joining us. Just look at Trump's stamina versus Biden. Biden uttered a few words and then the news show elaborated. Always that way. We're going to, let me tell you something. Trying to find entire clips of Joe Biden's speeches where the mainstream media didn't clip them in his stumbles and bumbles was very, very difficult. Now you're going to see that Trump stumbles on certain occasions too, but they left them all whole. But trying to find Biden stumbling and bumbling, I had to dig deep. I worked hard for this show, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you. Let's see, Debbie. I meant to say Trump's speech was constitutional, but Biden's comments are self-serving because he is suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. That makes more sense. Now I get it. We were selling energy. We're doing so good. Yeah. Biden speaks in Morse code. Yeah, exactly. Lots of dashes, no dots. DJT is pro-America. Biden is not. Well, we know that. I mean, Biden has made his life's work to undermine America. So anyway, here's the Biden economy. And here's him answering questions about inflation. Watch.
So I'm heading off to Philadelphia. And if you want to ask me a question about the economy, but I'm not going to answer any question about anything else because you never will cover this.
Mr. President, why did you decide to postpone Secretary Blinken's trip? Did you take any blame for inflation, Mr. President?
Am I taking blame for inflation? No.
Right. Why not?
Because it was already there when I got here, man. Remember what the economy was like when
We have a very...
So I'm heading off to Philadelphia. And if you want to ask me a question about the economy, but I'm not going to answer any question about anything else because you never will cover this.
Mr. President, why did you decide to postpone Secretary Blinken's trip? Did you take any blame for inflation, Mr. President?
Am I taking blame for inflation? No.
Right. Why not?
Because it was already there when I got here, man. Remember what the economy was like when I got here? Jobs were hemorrhaging. Inflation was rising. We weren't manufacturing a damn thing here. We were in real economic difficulty. That's why I don't. Thank you.
Mr. President, when and how will you remain the balloon? When and how will you remain the balloon, Mr. President?
Sorry about that glitch. Yeah, so, not going to take any questions, not going to make any statements, and he inherited the problem. Well, we just saw what a non-biased, non-partisan person had to say about Trump's economy a year into his presidency. But Biden is claiming he inherited inflation, which he didn't, because just so that you know, in case anybody asks, 2019 was record low inflation. 2020 beat 2019 for record low inflation. So it's bullshit.
You gotta be kidding me. That's 3 gallons of bullshit in a 2-gallon bucket.
When he says that he inherited that. Trump is on stage for hours at rally. He's up early in the morning, goes until midnight. I couldn't keep up with him. Agreed. Come on, man, Debbie. He's such a liar, and they just make him do it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then there's the OG. Come on, man. Yeah, it's how often he uses that phrase is actually bone chilling. It was like that because of the pandemic. Yeah. But again, 2020, record high, record low inflation. It beat 2019, which was record low inflation. So just, think about that for a minute. Let's see. Says Beer Nuts on Rumble. I enjoyed the Trump economy under Biden, Biden, our salaries are worthless. And that's true. How many people with the same jobs are struggling now to make ends meet because their salary doesn't cover their budget? He's such a liar. They just keep making him do it. And he's much ruder than Trump ever was. Indeed, he is. You can see the decline in Biden from when he was first took office till now. You certainly can. Then when businesses and schools reopened, he took credit for the job creation. Right. Yeah, I love these people who say that the president is not in control of private corporations, so therefore can't be saddled with blame for the economy. But they can take credit when the economy starts getting better, which, in reality, the economy has not gotten better. Is all it has done is we're trying to get back to where jobs were. The problem is that the job creation is more, or the job growth is more, that people are having to take second jobs to just be where they were under Trump. Okay, Angela Ricca, come on, Corn Pop, yeah. Biden is delusional. Anyone in their right mind can't think we are better now with Biden than with Trump. Oh, there are so many out there that do think that we are better. And that is why I'm doing the show. He's just a puppet. And next up, Nikki Haley, a rhino funded by the body machine. 100%. 100%. They're pushing so hard for Nikki Haley. She's not going to make it, but they want her to be vice president. And I don't see that happening. Okay, so let's see. So some humor. They say that, you can tell a person by their sense of humor. So let's watch Trump at the Al Smith dinner. This was before he was president.
This is a hell of a dinner. Well, I want to thank Your Eminence. This is really great to be with you again. We love it. Governor Cuomo, our great senators. Hi, Chuck. He used to love me when I was a Democrat, A special hello to all of you in this room who have known and loved me for many, many years. It's true. The politicians. They've had me to their homes. They've introduced me to their children. I've become their best friends in many instances. They've asked for my endorsement, and they always wanted my money. And even called me really a dear, dear friend. But then, suddenly, decided when I ran for president as a Republican that I've always been a no-good, rotten, disgusting scoundrel. And they totally forgot about me. But that's okay. I do recognize that I come into this event with a little bit of an advantage. I know that so many of you in the Archdiocese already have a place in your heart for a guy who started out as a carpenter working for his father. I was a carpenter working for my father. And even tonight, with all of the heated back and forth between my opponent and me at the debate last night, we have proven that we can actually be civil to each other. In fact, just before taking the dais, Hillary accidentally bumped into me, and she very civilly said, "Pardon me."
The next comment was, he said, "I will as soon as I become president." There's some humor for you. There's a man who can make some jokes, even if they were written for him, but he delivered them really, really well. Let's see. Job reinstatements, which are not new jobs. That is correct. Angela, she's talking about Biden economy. Nikki Haley is a vile globalist and extremely unlikable. Listen, from somebody who has had a house in South Carolina under her as governor, I agree 100%. She is, she's part of that problem that we have. I love watching the people in the background. Yeah, me too, Maria. Me too. Oh, gosh. How the heck he campaigns for president and deals with all of those cases is very impressive to me. The focus and energy that takes for young men, and he's 77 years old. That's correct, Martin. That's correct. Good to have you with us, Martin. Everybody buy Martin's books. They are incredible. I hope he's going to write a book about the Trump versus Biden presidency. I think that would be interesting. Martin, maybe you can take some pointers from the show. Debbie, they all loved him when he supported them monetarily, but no support for him when he was running for president because he would not play the dirty games they were and still are involved with. He has the receipts on all of them. You know, that's true. And let me tell you something. I know about that firsthand because when I was supporting certain elected officials across the state of New York, they all wanted me there because I had a big mouth and I told it like it was, and I wasn't going to take any BS from anybody. And I would say the things that they never would. But when I ran for borough president, not one of them would stand with me. They didn't have the cojones to do it. And you know what? It's the way it is. And I could almost say, including Trump, but he didn't know any better. He was duped into supporting my opponent, but that's okay. I'm going to give him a pass for that. Okay, so let's see. I don't know if I've read this already. Maybe I did. From Beer Nuts, I enjoyed the Trump economy under Biden. Our salaries are worthless. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, Martin can write a book on all of us ultra magas in your audience. Yeah, he could. He'd have firsthand experience, and he has lots of people to interview. So Martin, think about that. I'm telling you, to be a bestseller. Okay, COVID. Like, you know, all I hear is how Trump mishandled COVID. So I thought that I would take a clip about the way Trump spoke about COVID compared to Biden. So watch.
Today, I'd like to provide an update to the American people on several decisive new actions we're taking in our very vigilant effort to combat and ultimately defeat the coronavirus. We've been working very hard on this. We've made tremendous progress. When you compare what we've done to other areas of the world, it's pretty incredible. A lot of that had to do with the early designation and the closing of the borders. And as you know, Europe was just designated as the hotspot right now, and we closed that border a while ago. So that was lucky, or through talent, or through luck, call it whatever you want. But it is only the beginning of what we're really doing, and now we're in a different phase. We had some very old and obsolete rules that we had to live with. It worked under certain circumstances, but not under mass circumstances. They were there for a long time. They were in place for a long time, and we're breaking them down now. And they're very usable for certain instances, but not for this. To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency. Two very big words. The action I am taking will open up access to up to $50 billion of very important and a large amount of money for states and territories and localities in our shared fight against this disease. In furtherance of the order, I'm urging every state to set up emergency operation centers effective immediately. You're going to be hearing from some of the largest companies and greatest retailers and medical companies in the world. They're standing right behind me and aside of me. I'm also asking every hospital in this country to activate its emergency preparedness plan so that they can meet the needs of Americans everywhere. The hospitals are very engaged. New York and various other places are also very engaged. I just spoke with Governor Cuomo. We had a very good conversation, and we're working very strongly with many states, including New York. The emergency orders I'm issuing today will also confer broad new authority to the Secretary of Health and Human Services. The Secretary of HHS will be able to immediately waive provisions of applicable laws and regulations to give doctors
all hospitals and healthcare providers maximum flexibility to respond to the virus and care for patients. This includes the following critical authorities: the ability to waive laws to enable telehealth, a fairly new and incredible thing that's happened in the not so distant past. I tell you, what they've done with telehealth is incredible. It gives remote doctors visits and hospital check-ins, the power to waive certain federal license requirements so that doctors from other states can provide services in states with the greatest need. Number two, the ability to waive requirements that critical access hospitals limit the number of beds to 25 and the length of stay to 96 hours. The ability to waive the requirements of a 3-day hospital stay prior to admission to a nursing home, big thing. The authority to waive the rules to hinder hospitals' ability to bring additional physicians on board or obtain needed office space. They can do as they want. They can do what they have to do. They know what they have to do. Now they don't have any problem getting it done. The authority to waive rules that severely restrict where hospitals can care for patients within the hospital itself, ensuring that the emergency capacity can be quickly established. Will remove or eliminate every obstacle necessary to deliver our people the care that they need and that they're entitled to. No resource will be spared, nothing whatsoever. 10 days ago, I brought together the CEOs of commercial labs at the White House and directed them to immediately begin working on a solution to dramatically increase the availability of tests. Other countries have called us and worked with us, and they're doing similar things or will be doing similar things. As a result of that action today, we're announcing a new partnership with private sector to vastly increase and accelerate our capacity to test for the coronavirus.
So, in short, what he was doing was getting rid of regulations that would hinder doctors and hospitals from providing care, because these regulations were telling our doctors and hospitals what they had to do. One of them that he spoke about was that you must be in the hospital 3 days before you can be transferred to a nursing home. So for somebody who needed to go to a nursing home, they would have had to be in the hospital first, a hospital that was seeing COVID cases, before they could go to a nursing home if they needed a nursing home care. He waived that mandate so that people could be directly, somebody who needed to be in a nursing home could go directly without having to go to a hospital and bringing the virus into the hospital. We saw what happened when Cuomo misunderstood that directive and was taking nursing home patients, putting them in that were in the hospital for COVID, and then sending them back to the nursing home to recover. It spread through the nursing home like wildfire, and it killed many, many people. So the problem that we have in our healthcare system is all these things were in place. In other words, doctors couldn't just decide how they were going to handle their patients at the time of COVID, because there were so many rules and regulations in place directing doctors and hospitals about what they must do to handle anything. And Trump pulled back all those regulations to make it easier, put it in the hands of the healthcare professionals that's supposed to know better than the insurance company and then the federal government. So anybody that says that Trump mishandled COVID, I'd like to ask them, what would they have done different? Because the first thing is always get rid of the regulations that would retard medical providers from providing medical assistance. I mean, he even allowed for the telehealth for doctors to be able to treat people in other states if they were overwhelmed, if any state was overwhelmed. So he networked that whole situation. So once again, crazy for those people that think he mishandled things. Let's see. COVID was new back then when we are still in discovery stage of that virus from China. 100%. Thanks for the shout out and for the application of my literary skill appreciation. I'm sorry. That virus was another plan to get rid of Trump and his administration. They would now blame him for innocent mistakes made during the discovery period. Now it's blatant how they use it for control. 100%. Ralph is with us. Hello, Ralph. No one used the ships or tent structures in Central Park. That was a plan of theirs. Listen, it was, if you remember early on, Cuomo gave some back padding to Trump and then quickly withdrew it. But, he had his own problems. Well, listen to the difference in tenor between Trump and Biden with respect to COVID. Trump was removing regulations and giving the healthcare profession freedom to treat as they saw fit. Watch what Biden did.
We can and we will turn the tide on COVID-19. It'll take a lot of hard work. It's going to take some time. Many of us are frustrated with the nearly 80 million Americans who are still not vaccinated, even though the vaccine is safe, effective, and free. While the vaccines provide strong protection for the vaccinated, we read about and hear about and we see the stories of hospitalized people on their deathbeds among the unvaccinated over the past few weeks. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. The unvaccinated overcrowd our hospitals, are overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units, leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or pancreatitis or cancer. This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you, the people you work with, the people you care about, the people you love. My job as president is to protect all Americans. So tonight, I'm announcing that the Department of Labor is developing an emergency rule to require all employers with 100 or more employees that together employ over 80 million workers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated or show a negative test at least once a week. Some of the biggest companies are already requiring this. United Airlines, Disney, Tyson's Food, and even Fox News. My message to unvaccinated Americans is this: what more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us.
So, I'm not going to discuss much about this because I'll get kicked off of YouTube, but I'm just going to say that his approach was to villainize people for their free choice. We later learned a lot more about those vaccines and that the people with the vaccines could get COVID. So his approach was to villainize people and to pit people against each other, while Trump's approach was to deregulate things to let the healthcare industry do what they saw fit. We all know it's the vaccinated people getting sick or dying. Now we do. It was a pandemic of the vaccinated, correct? I mean, the vaccinated, it seemed we know that the vaccine didn't prevent the disease, didn't prevent it from spreading. It may have prevented people from getting sicker when they got the disease, but that's still out. We're going to wait for those numbers to come in. His job is anti-American, and he is living up to his job. Yeah. He doesn't even get disease right. It's pancreatitis, not pancreatitis. Agreed. All right, let's see. We have a couple more. Oh, this is Trump on oil. Wait. I've got one more comment. Oh, this is big. My question is, you have to pay for meds and sometimes a lot of money. You need approval for certain tests and procedures, and if you don't qualify, then you don't get treated. So my question is, why is the vaccine free? No qualification or approval for that? That's a good question, and I think that it should be asked. Okay, Trump on oil, gas, and fuel and becoming energy independent.
We have a very, very impressive group here to celebrate the start of a new era in American energy and production and job creation. The action I'm taking today will eliminate federal overreach, restore economic freedom, and allow our companies and our workers to thrive, compete, and succeed on a level playing field for the first time in a long time, fellas. It's been a long time. I'm not just talking about 8 years. We're talking about a lot longer than 8 years. You people know it maybe better than anybody. One after another, we're keeping our promises and putting power back into the hands of the people. First, today's energy independence action calls for an immediate reevaluation of the so-called Clean Power Plan. Perhaps no single regulation threatens our miners, energy workers, and companies more than this crushing attack on American industry. Second, we are lifting the ban on federal leasing for coal production. Third, we are lifting job-killing restrictions on the production of oil, natural gas, clean coal, and shale energy. And finally, we are returning power to the states where that power belongs. States and local communities know what is best for them. They understand it. They get it. They've been doing it for a long time. It was taken away from them and not handled well. And they are the ones that we should now and will now empower to decide. My action today is the latest in a series of steps to create American jobs and to grow American wealth. We're ending the theft of American prosperity and rebuilding our beloved country. We approved the permit to finally build the Keystone XL pipeline and cleared the way to completion of the Dakota Access Pipeline. Thousands and thousands of jobs. We've already created 500,000 new jobs in the first 2 jobs reports of my administration. And if you notice today, Ford, great company, announced massive new spending on 3 big plants in the state of Michigan, a state which I love very much. Do you remember what happened in Michigan? Remember? November 8th. Oh, that was an exciting Michigan evening. And Ford just made that announcement. It's a great announcement. It's a very important announcement. It means jobs, jobs, jobs. We're going to continue to expand energy production, and we will also create more jobs in infrastructure, trucking, and manufacturing. This will allow the EPA to focus on its primary mission of protecting our air and protecting our water. Together, we are going to start a new energy revolution, one that celebrates American production on American soil. We want to make our goods here instead of shipping them in from other countries all over the world. They ship in, take the Americans' money, take the money, go home, take our jobs, take our companies. No longer, folks, no longer. We believe in those really magnificent words, made in the USA. Right, fellas? We will unlock job-producing natural gas, oil, and shale energy. We will produce American coal to power American industry. we will transport American energy through American pipelines made with American steel. Made with American steel. Can you believe somebody would actually say that? Fellas, basically, you know what this says? You know what it says, right? You're going back to work. That's what it says. You're going back to work.
So, again, America first, America energy independent, America needs to produce its own oil, its own gas, its own coal. It's got to be able to do what it has to do to power up. Well, here's what happened when Biden got into office. Watch.
President Biden told reporters he is on the verge of announcing a massive infrastructure plan that, according to some estimates, could cost in the range of $3 trillion. Jobs, the president says, will be the key.
If you think about it, it's the place where we will be able to significantly increase American productivity, at the same time providing really good jobs for people. But we can't build back to what they used to be. We have to build the environments. Global warming's already done significant damage.
Those concerns about the environment were the main reason behind one of his first decisions as president to cancel the permits for the planned Keystone Pipeline, which was to carry oil from the tar sands of Canada to the United States. But the Canadian company behind the pipeline said thousands of jobs would be lost. Here in the United States, the ripple effects were also felt almost instantly, especially in South Dakota. And that's where Martin Savage went to examine the aftermath.
I'm going to sign you, and that's what we do while you're all here.
When President Biden revoked the construction permit of the Keystone XL pipeline, environmentalists celebrated. 1,500 miles from Washington, in Murdo, South Dakota, population 444, Jeff Berklin had a different reaction.
How did you feel? Like it got kicked in the stomach, honestly. I didn't feel good at all.
He's the CEO of a tiny electric cooperative with a big opportunity, building 2 substations providing power to 2 of the pipeline's pumping stations.
And each one of those would generate how much financially for you?
Roughly $500,000 a month.
This for a company that has only seen 99 new customers in 30 years. The profits would have all gone back to the co-op's 3,700 members.
Roughly, our members on average would have received about a $325 credit annually. That would be theirs.
Additionally, he says tens of thousands of tax dollars would have trickled down to the local school district and its 190 students. But all that vanished with the stroke of a presidential pen. In Phillips, South Dakota, population 779, Tricia Burns and her husband had just invested their own money expanding Ignite, a fitness center, hoping to make a little extra from the pipeline workers coming to town.
So, you know, the old saying, you got to make hay when the sun shines, and we felt like the sun was going to be shining and we needed to take advantage of that.
She watched Biden's inauguration on television.
And then the executive orders started coming in. And when he signed the bill to pull the permit, it was a tough moment here at Ignite.
By midnight, she says, 45 members had called to cancel memberships.
In a big city, that doesn't matter. Here, that's over half of our memberships.
So, Keystone Pipeline canceled because of Biden's Green New Deal, and the ancillary effect was not good. The effect in general was not good, but the ancillary effect hit a lot of small businesses. We're probably going to go over it tonight, so if you bear with me, let's talk about the Supreme Court. I want you to listen to the difference between Trump, who appointed a woman to the Supreme Court, and Biden, who did.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I stand before you today to fulfill one of my highest and most important duties under the United States Constitution, the nomination of a Supreme Court justice. This is my third such nomination after Justice Gorsuch and Justice Kavanaugh, and it is a very proud moment indeed. Over the past week, our nation has mourned the loss of a true American legend. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a legal giant and a pioneer for women. Her extraordinary life and legacy will inspire Americans for generations to come. Now we gather in the Rose Garden to continue our never-ending task of ensuring equal justice and preserving the impartial rule of law. Today it is my honor to nominate one of our nation's most brilliant and gifted legal minds to the Supreme Court. She is a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution, Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
So the most important thing for him was that she was going to be a defender of the Constitution, which is the definition of what a Supreme Court justice has to be. But here's President Biden after Ketanji Brown Jackson was ratified as a Supreme Court justice. He had very different ideas of what a Supreme Court justice needed to be.
Judge Jackson started the nominating process with an impressive range of support, from the FOP to the civil rights leaders. Even Republican-appointed judges came forward. In fact, Judge Jackson was introduced at the hearing by Judge Thomas Griffin, the distinguished retired judge appointed by George W. Bush. She finished the hearing with among the highest levels of support of the American people of any nomination in recent memory. So soon, Judge Jackson will join the United States Supreme Court, and like every justice, the decisions she makes will impact on the lives of America for a lot longer in many cases than any laws we all make. But the truth is, she's already impacting the lives of so many Americans. At her meeting with Judge Jackson, Senator Duckworth introduced her to an 11-year-old, is it Vivian? Vivian. I'm sorry, Vivian. That's her. Is that your sister? He's pointing. Who was so inspired by the hearing, she wants to be a Supreme Court justice when she grows up. God love you. Stand up, honey. Am I going to embarrass you by asking you to stand up? Come on, stand. There's tens of thousands of Vivines all through the entire United States. She met Judge Jackson and saw her future. Means you're here today, and thank you for coming, honey. I know I embarrassed you by introducing you, but thank you. People of every generation, of every race, of every background felt this moment, and they feel it now. They feel a sense of pride and hope and belonging and believing and knowing the promise of America includes everybody. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping, traveling with him. We traveled 17,000 miles when I was vice president. I don't know that for a fact. And we were sitting alone. I had an interpreter and he had an interpreter. And he looked at me in all seriousness. He said, "Can you define America for me?" And I said what many of you heard me say for a long time. I said, "Yes, I can. In one word, possibilities." Now, folks, it's my honor, and it truly is an honor. I've been looking forward to for a while, to introduce you the next Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court, the Honorable Ketanji Brown Jackson.
So that 26-minute speech started out with him saying that he's been dreaming about appointing a Black woman to the Supreme Court for years, and he found someone to fit the bill. He never once talked about her defending the Constitution. He never once talked about what her job was. He talked about how it was a symbol of hope for people around the world that a Black woman was appointed to the Supreme Court. I don't know about you, but I don't care who's appointed to the Supreme Court, so long as the first qualification is that they understand the Constitution and that they will uphold it. So let's see. I can't even look at the moron, his voice. Yeah, I know. I'm sure we lost a lot of viewers. Funny how they are now saying there are fossil fuels on Titan and other planets and their moons. Yeah, I guess we're going there. Congratulations. Yeah. Trump, an American patriot, a true depiction of an American president. Indeed. He's a perv. Justices picked by Trump, justices picked Biden's justices, race qualifies, not job qualifies. Exactly. So, again, I had to cut that in certain places because it was a 26-minute speech. But if you want to hear the whole thing, basically what he's saying is that she was chosen because she was Black and she was a woman and had nothing to do with her knowledge of the Constitution. Okay, Middle East, watch.
This week I announced a groundbreaking plan for peace between Israel and the Palestinians. Recognizing that all past attempts have failed, we must be determined and creative in order to stabilize the region and give millions of young people the chance to realize a better future. 3 years ago, the barbarians of ISIS held over 20,000 square miles of territory in Iraq and Syria. Today, the ISIS territorial caliphate has been 100% destroyed, and the founder and leader of ISIS, the bloodthirsty killer known as al-Baghdadi, is dead. Every day, America's men and women in uniform demonstrate the infinite depth of love that dwells in the human heart. One of these American heroes was Army Staff Sergeant Christopher Hake. The terrorist responsible for killing Sergeant Hake was Qasem Soleimani, who provided the deadly roadside bomb that took Chris's life. Soleimani was the Iranian regime's most ruthless butcher, a monster who murdered or wounded thousands of American service members in Iraq. As the world's top terrorist, Soleimani orchestrated the deaths of countless men, women, and children. He directed the December assault and went on to assault U.S. forces in Iraq, was actively planning new attacks when we hit him very hard. And that's why last month, at my direction, the U.S. military executed a flawless precision strike that killed Soleimani and terminated his evil reign of terror forever. Our message to the terrorists is clear. You will never escape American justice. If you attack our citizens, you forfeit your life. In recent months, we have seen proud Iranians raise their voices against their oppressive rulers. The Iranian regime must abandon its pursuit of nuclear weapons, stop spreading terror, death, and destruction, and start working for the good of its own people. Because of our powerful sanctions, the Iranian economy is doing very, very poorly. We can help them make a very good and short-time recovery. It can all go very quickly, but perhaps they are too proud or too foolish to ask for that help. We are here. Let's see which road they choose. It is totally up to them. As we defend American lives, we are working to end America's wars in the Middle East. In Afghanistan, the determination and valor of our warfighters has allowed us to make tremendous progress, and peace talks are now underway. I am not looking to kill hundreds of thousands of people in Afghanistan, many of them totally innocent. It is also not our function to serve other nations as law enforcement agencies. These are warfighters that we have, the best in the world, and they either want to fight to win or not fight at all. We are working to finally end America's longest war and bring our troops back home.
So, yeah, a couple of you have said that Pelosi was disrespectful. She certainly was. But that was, Trump's, focus was to get us out of the Middle East and to get peace there wherever he could. Biden acts like he supports Israel, but behind closed door, he pressures Israel to stop their attack. Indeed, he does. What's going on just shows proof of Biden's failure, period. Well, here's Biden's commentary. Wait, hold on. Let me get rid of this. Here's Biden's commentary. Oh, wait. Look at Pelosi, that troll. Yeah. With all the methane on planets, there is no signs of global warming on other planets, just this one. So much for dead dinosaur theory. Excellent, Professor. Pelosi in the background is very disrespectful by reading while the President Trump speaks. Well, what do you expect? Anything different? All right, so here is Biden on the Middle East. I love this one.
Mr. President, there had not been a U.S. service member killed in combat in Afghanistan since February of 2020. You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in, and now 12 Marines are dead. You said the buck stops with you. Do you bear any responsibility for the way that things have unfolded in the last 2 weeks?
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened of late. But here's the deal. You know, I wish you'd one day say these things. You know as well as I do that the former president made a deal with the Taliban that he would get all American forces out of Afghanistan by May 1. In return, the commitment was made, and that was a year before. In return, he was given a commitment that the Taliban would continue to attack others, but would not attack any American forces. Remember that? I'm being serious. No, I'm asking you a question. Because before... No, wait a minute. I'm asking you a question. Is that accurate, the best?
About, but Mr. President, respectfully, since I don't think that the issue that... do you think that people have an issue with pulling out of Afghanistan or just the way that things have happened?
I think they have an issue that people are likely to get hurt. Some, as we've seen, have gotten killed, and that it is messy. Imagine where we'd be if I had indicated on May the 1st I was not going to renegotiate an evacuation date. We were going to stay there. I'd have only one alternative: pour thousands of more troops back into Afghanistan. Ladies and gentlemen, it was time to end a 20-year war. Thank you so much.
So it wasn't his fault. It was Trump's fault. He couldn't figure out how to renegotiate. He couldn't figure out how to protect the 13 soldiers that died. He couldn't figure out a way to save the billions of dollars of equipment that they're now using against Israel. He couldn't figure it out. That's what he's saying. But unfortunately, nobody hears it. Okay, let's see. I know we're really over. Biden is always pushing the blame on everyone but himself. That's what they do. This guy needs to go. Well, from your mouth to God's ears. Here's the last one. Historical Black universities. Trump first.
It's a very important moment and a moment that means a great deal to me. This month has been a wonderful opportunity to celebrate African American history and to begin working together to create a better future for African Americans and universities and colleges and everything that is African American. Today we're taking action to help make that future happen and that future better. Historically, Black colleges and universities are incredibly important institutions woven into the fabric of our history, just about like no other. Church is very important, right? Yes. Colleges and universities. Come here. My defender. He's on. Education has the power to uplift. It has the power to transform, and perhaps most important, education has the power to create greater equality and justice in our lives. That's why today I'm thrilled to be signing an executive order to recognize the importance of historically Black college and universities. Very important. They have played such an important role in achieving progress for African Americans and in our nation's march for justice. HBCUs have been really pillars of the African American community for more than 150 years. Amazing job. And a grand and enduring symbol of America at its absolute best. And I congratulate you all to say that.
Thank you.
With this executive order, we will make HBCUs a priority in the White House, an absolute priority.
All right.
A lot of people are going to be angry that they're not a priority, but that's okay. And we will pledge our support to you, your mission, and our shared mission of bringing education and opportunity to all of our people. And so I just want to congratulate, these are very, very special people surrounding me. You've done an amazing job. It's not easy. Nothing's easy. But you've done an amazing job, and I just want to congratulate you all, and I want to thank you. Thank you for your support on behalf of our country. And I'm going to sign this.
Thank you. So thank you.
And this is really fantastic.
So that was President Trump putting money in the budget every year for Black universities and colleges, which up until him was never codified in the budget. So he put it in for every year funding for historical Black colleges and universities. Here's Joe Biden having to try and keep up with Trump. Just everybody watch Biden, even though he doesn't really speak in this. Watch him while the discussion is going on.
$5 billion in annual appropriations and $12 million, which might not sound like a lot of money to any of you, but was really important when HBCUs were under terroristic threat not so long ago. So just to give you a sense of that commitment, we have framed our recommendations around President Biden, Vice President Harris's core fundamental tenets in that regard. And therefore, one, let's continue to work on infrastructure, both as it relates to physical infrastructure and technological infrastructure. We already know at HBCUs we're the best return on investment in higher education. We provide a quality education, and we want our living and learning spaces to match that quality education. Two, let's make sure we're spending time continuing to build the research capacity of our institutions. We think we have unique expertise across an array of disciplines that will help the American economy. And we have a number of HBCUs who are in the R2 position, which is the Carnegie classification, that are ready for their R1 status. Three is connected pathways, and the President and the Vice President have already done this, particularly as it relates to using the bully pulpit to spend time with industry supporting this notion of real opportunities for our students from the time they come to our campuses through graduate school. And then finally is HBCU preservation and growth. And we believe that is critically important because, as many know, particularly my colleagues in this room, still the number one factor for a low resource student getting into the middle class who is African Americans is their attendance at an HBCU. So I'm very proud to chair this body. I'm very proud of my colleagues and continued work. I'd only add that our report comes with a detailed fact pattern established by the Institute for Black Economic Mobility at the McKinsey Institute that they provided pro bono. So we believe our work.
So I don't know, was it just me or was he somewhere else worried about what he was going to say next rather than listening to what was being said by the chairman of this committee? You decide. Yes, the Dems made the HBCUs come back every year to two and request the funds instead of adding permanent funding. Keep them on the hook for votes. Indeed. What the hell is he doing? Yeah, what was he doing? He's looking through his papers, asking himself, where is that information written in my notes? What is that guy talking about? Indeed. Hydrazine, aka rocket fuel, can be found on other planets along with oil and methane gas. Well, I guess that's why Trump initiated the oh gosh, why can't I remember the name of the armed forces that Star Patrol? I can't remember. To go back to outer space. All right. So anyway, here was Trump versus Biden. I hope you agree that I didn't cut, I didn't clip, I didn't choose, I didn't pick. I want everybody to understand that my availability of information or actual speeches by Biden was retarded. I mean retarded in that it was not there because he doesn't speak. Either his White House speaks, his press secretary speaks, his minions speak, but he doesn't speak. So to get information out of his mouth, especially on the economy, very, very difficult. So I gave to you the best that I could find, and I hope that anybody out there will choose for themselves which president is truly protecting the people and individual rights, and which is protecting the government. That's all I've got to say. I hope you had a great night. I promise you Jem will be with us next week. I thank you for enduring me for 2 weeks straight, and I will see you all next Tuesday.